Hello everyone, this is Bigalski.
And this is JTB.
And after talking about it in chapter 10, how people used to do the old school karma method, I decided to make a video, just one video, showing it. I'm actually not going to show all the fights that you can respawn and fight down to zero. I didn't fight them down to zero, but just to give people an idea of how the scoring method used to work versus how it worked after the patch in Ninja Gaiden. And then, of course, obviously, NGB being totally different in terms of the scoring system. So I'm basically going to go through and fight every fight that the game allows me to do from Chapter 11. And after we watch this video, you'll be able to see going back and really starting in Chapter 5.
Yeah.
And starting
you could do it in 4, but it's probably not worth the time bonus. Giving it that time bonus.
But after that, everything else is worth the time bonus to... I mean, everything is worth getting the extra time, whittling it down versus the end of chapter time bonus. And like I said, we'll find that out at the very end of this. Now, we just did our chapter 11 video here, and as you can see up at the top, fight 8 total times down to a time bonus of 78. I could fight it lower, but again, it's not going to be worth that many points.
Yeah, and I suppose that's one difference right there. I mean, if you were going to go for a full-blown run, I mean, we mentioned before the video started, I've still got half a mind to do that, as I still have an unpatched system, so all it takes is plugging that in without thinking, with it hooked up to the net. You know, you lose the ability to play it. But you would just redo everything until it gave you 0, pretty much, because the time limit for the chapter is only ever going to be 100,000, and even if you're over that by 1 second, you lose at least 51,000 points or something for failing that bonus. Whereas, from Chapter 5 onwards, you'd be fighting, just off the top of my head, probably, 30, 40 fights, give or take, multiple times, and so just the first run-through of those encounters with the 10,000 point time bonus, 40 times, that's almost 500,000, just on the first run. So, doing it, 8 or 9 times, whatever you have to do to get it down to 0 on every single encounter, takes you 100 years, but that is what you would do, to get max points,
Well, this is one of the fights. These next couple fights are something that I skipped in my Chapter 9 video. And here's the splash damage that we were talking about that the UF has versus the Dottie. So you really kind of want to UT your way through, because you still want, obviously you still got to make the time bonus. If you start trying to do flare and all that stuff, it kind of defeats the purpose. So it is boring, but...
you got to do what's quick, because again, that kill bonus, as we've said before, the kill bonus on every single encounter throughout the entire course of the game, if you're doing, no exaggeration, probably thousands of encounters on a karma run, if you're behind on 50 points over the entire game on every single one, by the end of the game, that's a whole lot of points that you haven't got. So, style and that is cool, but it takes longer.
Well, if you look at JTB's Karma Run video, how he's going back and just my run through, I think he's already 1 million points ahead of me.
Is that at this point in the game?
Yeah, I think so. And that's how fast it adds up. Even when I finish this chapter, I'm still not ahead by a long shot of what JTB is at this point. So, like I said, it may not seem that big of a deal, but it adds up fast over the course of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned it on the very hard tutorial we did for NGB. Up until the end of Chapter 5, I was neck and neck for the number 1 pace. And then over the course of the next 2 chapters, because, I didn't go for max on 2 chapters, it put getting, the number 1 spot completely out of reach. You've got to maintain that for the entire game. That's why it's so draining, You cannot take a break. You cannot do any encounter and think, oh, that'll do. Because it won't,
Yeah.
It won't do. I love it when you do that, when they try and jump off. You just whack them away.
I'm sure it was on purpose.
Oh, it just looks so satisfying. Yeah, man, look at that. Look how much... they can pretty sure they can't survive that in black. The health they have is a lot higher on this one.
My platforming is still not very... Or even know where I'm going. It's like, where am I going?
Yeah, the door's this way.
Yeah, I know it.
You just...
I know it. So, actually going back through and playing this was fun, doing these encounters in this chapter, but replaying all of those fights, especially coming up from the military guys in chapter 8. See, going in here and just look at him. Yeah, whacked him. Look at it. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, they haven't dissolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see that they're dead, but you actually have to kill them to get the time bonus. That's annoying.
But going back, it's actually a lot of fun to just fight those fights, and however you want to do them, it doesn't matter. But again, I think doing the same method. And you have so much, you're going to get so much money. You can just buy Nimpo and Nimpo your way through. There's some fights that you can't do it, and there's some fights I didn't do. It would have been a hell of a lot easier. But when you're fighting those fights 8 times in a row, you don't want to just Nimpo your way through and have to always go and buy. I mean, you could, but chapter time would be forever and a day. I mean, you could farm. Yeah. You could farm for essence from the bats and buy all the elixirs and just Nimpo your way through it, but that wouldn't be...
that's an interesting point, actually, now that you bring that up. If you were going to do it for the entire game, if you go from, on the assumption that, say, from Chapter 5 onwards, you're just going to disregard time, that would leave you a potential 10 essence bonuses left to get in the game. That's only 100,000 points. If using Nimpo, across the entire game at that point, that would probably actually get you more points than making, kind of restricting your items to get those essence bonuses. Because, like we've always said, if you disregard time, that is the parameter that makes stuff hard. If you give yourself forever to do something, and not necessarily an NG, real life. If you have forever to do it, it's kind of whatever. Whereas if you put a time limit on some of it, that's what makes it tricky,
Right. And see, there's a good example of my UF only killing 2 guys, maybe 4, but the Nimpo's going to kill anywhere from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
So
if you time the spawns correctly, you can get it to kill 6 every time. You just
the UF? The UF?
No,
UT?
the Nimpo. I mean, if you time your Nimpo properly, you'll always kill the whole wave.
I still laugh at them whenever they drop down and they just land on their feet and just fall over because they're dead. I didn't try to go back down the little tunnel here to see if, or not the tunnel, the stairs that I just came up from, to see if these guys would spawn more enemies, but I don't think you'd make the time limit. I guess unless you Nimpo'd your way through it.
I was just thinking about that, Funnily enough, coming at it from this angle, I think you might be able to, because what really hurts you, when you come here in Chapter 10, you come in from this way, don't you? You come in from this gate, and it's getting from there to the bottom of the stairs that kills you, because that costs you 7 or 8 seconds to do that, while killing the enemies. Whereas when you come at it from that other angle, all the enemies are coming to you, and you don't have to get towards that tunnel, you're already there. So maybe doing it that way, you still need to get a bit lucky, I think, but I think doing it that way, you might actually be able to spawn the full 24 and get that time bonus.
Well, maybe you could chain the essence from one of the guys. Well, you'd be lighting Nimpo anyway, so...
You'd probably use Inazuma.
Yeah. So
does level 1 one-shot these guys?
I don't know. I went ahead and upgraded to level 2.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how many points I get on the final form with my level 2 versus your level 1.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but who knows? I can't remember how many kills I got off the top of my head, but I think it was north of 300. So you might lose maybe a couple of Nimpo's worth of kills, maybe 40, 50, but I'm interested to see that too, because it does do quite a bit more damage than level 1.
I tell you, I really hate missing. You see that guy dodge all my shurikens right there? But I really miss being able to rotate the camera.
Yeah.
And see, that forward Y didn't kill that guy.
Yeah, he survived it.
Yeah.
That's so weird to see that, like, an enemy, so like a, you know, kind of a regular enemy surviving, like, the forward Y of the UF.
So again, this is one of those fights where, you know, I fight it 8 more times, go to Miramasa, pick up anything that I need. It's funny.
It is funny when you catch the bodies. It's just boom. Oh, this game's so good.
I killed 2 there with my forward Y. I couldn't kill 1 with my forward Y earlier. So.
You sometimes get an extra 1 or 2 guys in these fights. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh, yeah.
That's really strange. Yeah, you might. I wonder if I have a feeling. I don't know if I know, like, for 2 of the encounters we know what it is, but I have a feeling that you can, like, respawn, like, double waves in most of the encounters in that chapter. I don't know why. It's just the way some of the spawns work. Because sometimes you get more enemies than you should normally. And when you look at the kill tables and that, you can add them up and you can think, okay, so this, you know, this encounter should have this many enemies.
So in my other chapter 11 video, I didn't kill the helicopter guys. I just went straight to get the spear gun. Then, of course, I don't know where I'm going.
I've done that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get turned around when you think the camera, because you're so used to trying to rotate it a certain way and it doesn't, and then I actually found myself still moving the button like I wanted to rotate it and not doing it. So I always had trouble. I don't like these swim controls. I mean, you know, if you just want to go up a little bit, it just doesn't go up a little bit. You know, it either shoots straight up or shoots straight down.
Yeah, they're not great. Going through, I'm going through Sigma again at the moment, and like the water controls in that game are so much better. That was such a good, just one of the biggest changes I think in Sigma. That is just a really, really strong change for it. They really made the water stuff a lot better.
I think I get the spear gun here. You could buy or get Miramasa. Don't jump in the water, just kind of fall in the water. It's funny how I just walked forward and fell in the water, but if I had rolled, I wouldn't have rolled into the water. And that comes into play how we talked about in the last video when I nimpoed the 3 laser helicopters. You kind of roll into that, because if you try to walk into it, you're going to fall down in the water.
I wonder if that was a question in development when they made the game. Like, should you be able to roll off of a ledge? Can you imagine how much different this game would be if when you rolled, it put you over an edge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that big of a deal when you think about it quickly, but when you think about the entire game and think, oh, actually, that'd be insane in certain areas of the game. Do you think people were just like rolling into the lava maybe, and they were like, all right, let's turn that off. Let's make it that you can't do that.
Right. Well, you know, the other part of that too, like we always said, hey, if you're not playing for score, you know, big deal, you just get out of the lava. But when you're playing for score and going for time, that's a big deal. I think I roll into this here and you'll see what we're talking about. I love how he flops though. Is this where you get hit and flop?
Oh, wait.
No. Okay, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it in the other chapter, and notice I was on the other chapter. I think I rolled there, and I was able to get all 3 with my Inazuma. Since I wasn't as close to the edge, I only got 2 of them.
Yeah, it can sometimes depend on the guy at the back. There is one at the back that goes back and forwards in kind of a diagonal angle. And if he's coming towards you, like, he's actually quite a bit closer to you than if he's going away from you. So that might play into, like, the Inazuma range as well.
So here, I talked about it earlier. We'll talk about it again. It's all about positioning. You know, where these guys are. And you can actually feel the spear gun hitting the guys. And so that way, you know, when you have time to go take a breath of air. Because like I said, you don't want to get these guys staggered, because the time limit's not always the easiest to make. I know you got the spear gun and you just pressing the button. Trust me, it depends on where the guys are and how you can manipulate them.
Where you are here, if you get to, you see where that opening is, it's hard to see, but just on the left there, where you go to get the medallion, if you end up there and you have fish, then you'll go into you'll change the fish's spawning, so where they'll spawn one in front, one behind, and then you'll have to turn with the spear gun, and that will cost you the time bonus if you have to do that to rotate every fish.
Yeah.
If you get it to like how they are, where the fish just come around to you, then you can just shoot them over and over and over again, and you're fine. This time limit's really generous in NGO4, isn't it? This is like, you only get like what, like 18 seconds here in black or something?
Oh yeah, it's not very long at all.
Getting a UT here like runs it right down, just on the charge time alone.
See again, thing on the other, you can get. Oh, notice I only got 2 that time. I didn't get the 3rd one.
Yeah, but the Phantom hitbox got it. You see that?
Yeah, but it only showed 2 as me killing it, or me
went
killing
to 3.
2. Did it show 3?
It went to 3 just as the because we've talked about that too. Like that's a great showcase of that. Actually, the Inazuma.
I planned that.
On level 1 and level 2, it's got this really weird, like, it's why that Nimpo, funnily enough, you shouldn't really upgrade it to level 3, even though it is substantially more powerful, it only hits once, whereas on level 1 and 2, you get this weird, stun, almost, where, like, you can see it on Awaken Downward and Nikkei really, really obviously. You'll light up your Nimpo, it'll hit, all the lightning will go out, and then they'll just kind of start moving, and then all of a sudden, like, the invisible hitbox knocks them down, and you lose that at level 3 in Azuma.
Yeah, well, because I was looking for the guy. Where's the dang helicopter guy? I only saw 2, but that would make sense because my kill bonus up there was over 4,000, so I had to have gotten the 3rd one for that to be over 4,000. Yeah.
You've got 69 seconds here. I know we mentioned it in the previous video. There is no way, I think there is no way you could do this in 70 seconds with Dragon Sword. There's 9 fish and the 2 helicopters. You have to kill the fish in, like, what? Even if you killed them in 5-6 seconds apiece, that'd still only leave you with, like, 15 seconds to kill both helicopters. And there's no way you're killing a fish in, like, 5 seconds with the Dragon Sword.
Even if you get him stun locked, how you were talking about in the other chapter or the other video, if you can get him stun locked, then that's great. But look at that, I got close to getting blasted there or eaten there. But
it kind of kills the frame rate too, actually. It's like, when you get that stun lock on him in this, like the frame rate just takes a dive.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, it must be something to do with, like, the underwater kind of stressing it a little bit.
Me and my spear gat.
It's funny, like Ryu, he's a great shot when he wants to be.
So on this video, like I said, I cut out all the extra unnecessary fights, and then also some of the swim times and going back and forth times, because this chapter is very long if you decide to play it like I played it. And that doesn't, like I said, I only played it down to 78. If I played it down to 0, that would this would be a really long chapter. But swim down so Ryu doesn't shoot over the fish. And as you can see, I'm not at a very good angle here. I don't think I swam down as far as I should have. But at the end of the day, just keep pressing the button to get him to fire.
Yeah. It's a shame the spear gun doesn't have a UT.
Oh, that would be brutal. Just a wave of...
It was like, my first thought was, I don't know if anyone's played Resistance on PS3, but you have those, like, spike grenades that you throw, and it's like a sphere, and, like, just, like, spikes just go everywhere. That's what the spear gun could be. You could fire, like, a ball out, and boom, and it just kill everything really quickly for you. It'd be less messing about.
So, whenever I put up fight 8 total times, I fight the first set of fish, Nimpo, these guys, and then I keep going up and down the elevator because the fish, that's one of those respawning fights. So that was a big, slow hassle waiting for the animation of the elevator to go through. But again, that's just kind of part of it. So whenever you see the 8 times, that means that's a respawning fight. Sometimes it's not always right with it's just that one fight, because the ninjas added a fight, and then there's another section when you go back through chapter 8 that adds to a fight. Again, I know this looks boring, but we're doing it for the score to show people.
It's what you have to do.
Yeah. I didn't this pattern's just a little bit different from the other pattern because now time doesn't matter. So You know, it's no big deal.
I just worked out some quick maths here too for anyone that's interested in this, you know, being really nerdy. But the system in NGB, the scoring system, will always round up to the nearest number. So as long as you're over 50% of the way on a decimal, you'll get a time bonus. That's how the kind of figures work to run it all the way down. You have to do a fight 16 times for it to give you 0 points.
Wow.
So 15 times, like you would have to do every single encounter 15 times to get to the point where it would give you nothing.
Wow.
It would actually give you 0 points. So yeah, that's a fun fact for everybody. If anyone was curious.
Well, it like I said, it's interesting because it takes 8 times to get down to 78, and then the lower you go, the more times, because you know the numbers divide from there.
Yeah, it's just 50% every time.
Yeah.
So that's why when you go on the kind of run that I did, where I wanted to keep the time limits in mind, that's why it wasn't really worth me going below like the 2500 time bonus for a lot of the fights, because if I was having to spend, you know, 20 seconds to get, you know, 300 points in an encounter, that's just not worth that time. You know, that time is better spent doing something else to maximize points in a full percentage encounter, you know.
Right. Well, I showed the places in the fight, the first fight on the other side of the monastery, where you need to go back to make sure that those enemies respawn. Same thing with the other one. This one is actually a respawning fight, and this one's kind of brutal.
Yeah, that's weird. Inazuma doesn't kill those turrets.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way. But see, and then getting them staggered, then trying to find them, and
yeah, the military guys in particular, I think, are just that little bit smarter in this game. You know, like the rocket guys aren't as predictable. Like it's super easy in Black and even Sigma to get the rocket guys to just shoot a rocket at you, which is, you know, no way is it going to hit you. In this game, they're a lot sharper. Like they will wait for you to move before they try and target you. I mean, those rockets in this game, they hurt when they hit you. So it's actually a big difference on them.
So my UT missed the guy coming out, but the only way to get these guys to spawn, just go in and out this door. But I tell you what, that is a tough time limit or a tough encounter to go back, at least for me, with an Inazuma not killing the guys or killing the turrets, and then they could get on either side. I mean, it was, I used quite a bit of supplies there. My shurikens, my arrows. Of course, you could just farm bats and get your essence back. Or farm kills, too.
Or you could farm these guys.
Yeah.
Did you kill that first guy before the timer went on there? I just noticed that only gave you 2,000 points.
Then I didn't look at him.
That sucks. Oh, wow, you can go and do this again?
Yeah. Yeah. Because
I mean, this is a lot of points here. Like, this is what, 20 guys? Is it 20? Yeah, it's 20.
Now remember, I have a target on my window on my TV.
You shouldn't have said that. We'll edit that out.
No. I mean, I don't mind that. That goes to show people how bad I am. But at the end of the day, I still made the time limit. And I still go up here. You know, I go up because they'll come in this straight line right here. And that's...
Yeah, this is a good spot. I remember when I first played this game way back in 2004, I had like an 11-inch CRT TV.
Wow. That's crazy.
And that's what I was playing this on. And you know, you'd sit. I mean, it's funny. Even when I used to play on a big TV, you know, obviously people these days they still sit 2 feet in front of it. Those, you know, those recommendations where it's like sit 20 feet away from your TV, and you think, how big do you think my house is?
Exactly.
I have like 20 feet, you know, in my living room. And I remember the first time playing this when I got a new TV. You know, I upgraded. I got a 22-inch TV. I felt super Hollywood.
Wow, 22 inch. That's crazy. Isn't it?
And like when playing this game, and like when I was using the bow, it was like, oh my god, I can see. Like I can see so much more because the screen is bigger.
So, whenever you come to do this, see, in Ninja Gaiden Black, the military gate is closed, I believe, in this chapter.
Oh, yeah, these guys are small.
Yeah, but you have to go into the... whenever I first came in here and I walked through that first gate, and I didn't see anybody spawn, and then I came here and nobody spawned. I was actually fixing to leave. But I said, you know what, let me just go back into where the helicopters are. And then when those guys spawned, then I came out and these guys spawned. I was like,
yeah,
wow.
because these don't respawn in Chapter 9, do they?
Right.
You just get the turret, like the turret kind of pops up again.
Right.
And then you don't actually get the, the soldiers. They don't come out.
Well, I'm pretty sure that, and I could be wrong because we're never on that side, that the military gate is closed when you come back through here. At least in Chapter 12. I don't think we've ever come back through here in Chapter 11 before you fight Doku to see if it...
Good question.
But...
I haven't in Black.
But even if it was, it wouldn't be any points.
No, there wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, in NG...
And you have to do this. Excuse me. You have to go out and come back in to get these 3 guys to spawn.
Yeah, but NGO4, the...
2 guys for me.
Wow, weird. Yeah. In NGB, rather, the gates in front of the monastery are closed, aren't they?
Yeah.
You can't actually get here in Black.
So again, here's another one. Fight 8 times down.
Man, I wonder what your total playtime would be on like a full one.
Well,
like,
whenever you do it, we'll know.
Yeah, like it's got me curious enough to where, that might actually be something that's worth doing.
Now I went ahead and put this all up at the top, fight 8 total times down to 78, because I just don't want no assumption at all that since I'm only showing the first fight, that you couldn't do it on all these fights. Because I thought about it, because I have it like up here like 5 times in a row or longer, and I want people to know, yes, this is one of those fights. So a little repetitious, but it's pretty clear what we're doing. It's interesting, when we were deciding to do this, we were trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about, since we just did a Chapter 9 video, and we haven't talked about any of the stuff we wanted to talk about, because it's actually gone by, because we're always adding new stuff to it. So that's actually pretty cool. I love the Fiend Sealer on those guys, man. Again, go out to this spot and then come back in.
Yeah, people just need to wait for our Halo Legendary walkthroughs where they can ask us all the Ninja Gaiden questions they want.
Yeah. Right.
We can be playing Halo and be like, yeah.
Yeah, that's when they're going to ask us all that stuff.
It's like, let's give you some history while we're fighting Tartarus on Legendary, because it takes like 8 years to kill.
So this fight right here is the one that spawns. This next fight I'm going into, it only spawns the one time. I don't ever think I even broke that door. I mean, I don't really need to, because there's nothing in there.
Yeah, what's in there? It's crap, isn't it?
Like an elixir and a life of the gods. And I'm not even using the life of the gods. I mean, you have so many life of the 1,000 gods. So again, fight that. I think I went to go save. And then here's another. And here's the great part about this right here, is you can just Nimpo these guys. Stand back.
Yeah, you got Inazuma.
Yeah, kill them all. Walk into Hands Bar, and then Nimpo, and do the same thing. Then just go up and refill your Nimpo. Trying to do that without Nimpo is a little tough, though.
Yeah, what happened to Han? Do you think Hands Bar?
Oh yeah, you never see the guy anymore. Maybe maybe he got killed by the.
He was killed.
He got trampled
by
to
Jason
death.
Statham.
He was. He was standing in front of the door, and everybody tried to get in. He got trampled to death. He didn't let anybody in, but everybody
gets
got
killed
out
by the Fiend.
So, real quick, you can go down here and fight this fight. But one of the questions that was asked is why are we doing these old runs? I want to get this in before the chapter ends.
Because we're crazy.
But notice coming up while we're saying it, one of these or a couple of these guys last. A forward Y with the low health UF.
Yeah. Does the level 3 Dabilla UT one shot these guys?
I don't know. I just wanted to always do this with the low health UF.
Yeah, I would imagine it would, surely.
I still have the save. Maybe I could go back and check
I'm
it
just
out.
Curious. Because it does in Sigma, I think the level 1 Dabilla UT sometimes kills them, and I think it kills the Archer.
Here we go. No, is it this guy right here? Yeah.
Ah, yeah, he's got the armor. There, yes, that is like the perfect showcase of that damage reduction. There, you have, you know, God's bitch stick, and he still and he still survives a hit with that. That's insane.
So the reason we did this is because there's nothing like this out that's current, and we want to rather get it on video now than not have it at all. So
Yeah.
I think I use the bats as I'm going up to whittle me down to low health. But again, it's the same thing as I said before.
Those bats are real hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as well, like when you think about that's the abridged version of why we're doing this. But above all else, it's still fun. You know, this game is still fun to play. Every now and then, I don't know if they're sarcastic. Maybe they are. But every now and then, I'll get a comment on a video that says, "Oh, you're still playing NG?" I think, yeah. People are still playing chess. That game's been around for thousands of years. You know, it's still fun. So I'm going to keep playing it.
Look at my clear time when it's normally 23 minutes and the kills are 53.
Yeah.
But that kind of
that
gives you
shows
an
you how
idea. And again, I didn't fight everything down to 0. I didn't really mess around or farm or go to Miramasa, you know, hardly at all. And it still takes a long time. And that's just one chapter. So one of the things I wanted to do here at the very end was just show JTB's video of making the time limit, mine on this one right here, and you know I scored 577,000. 577,000 higher. So,
and that's just one chapter.
Yeah,
that's just, and you think how many chapters you have. Like, think of, I mean, and that's not necessarily going to be like one of the highest point scoring chapters either.
Right. So imagine doing that for all the chapters that you can, other than chapter 1, 2, and 3, and possibly 4. You could go back and refight all these fights. Just imagine chapter 15. You know, before you,
God.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Fighting all the ghost fish and going up and down the core
The
floors
core would be,
and everything. Like,
what is it? 8 fights. The core.
Yo,
The core's 8 fights,
yeah,
isn't it?
the 4 floors and the 4
ghost fish. Yeah. So, and it was what you have to do it 15 times for it to give you 0. So that's 15 times 8. That's how much. So the core would be what, 120 fights?
Wow. Well, I'm not sure if the floors or the actual floors respawn more than once. I mean, I think they respawn twice, but I don't know if they respawn going. But again, since we haven't done it and this is an unpatched system, who knows? They might. I mean, like I said, maybe we'll figure that out and do maybe a chapter 15 video and, you know, maybe not do any commentary, but just show, you know.
Just show, like how long it takes.
Yeah, something like that. But look, we did it because we want this information to be out there on YouTube. That's good quality, good information. And like JTB said, we enjoy it. So we appreciate everybody watching and listening to us. We have a good time doing this. Hopefully it gives people an idea of how the old school Karma method worked. I'm glad it's not that way in NGB anymore. But enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the
they gave us something way worse in some ways.
Okay, guys, take care. Well, we'll see you later on.
Take care, guys.